Hi, I'm Extra Mustard, a solo indie developer. I recently released my game Telly the TV on Steam. I love my experience developing Telly the TV, so I decided to continue on this path to see what else would happen. During my development of Telly the TV, I posted an earlier build of the game to Newgrounds, itch.io, and GamePix. About a week later, I saw my game all over search results with these gaming websites I'd never heard of like Y8 Games, Cool Math Games, and countless more I could not even begin to list here. At first I felt pretty discouraged because it seemed like people were just stealing my game to make a dime. And yes, they are making ad revenue on these websites. So I tried to go down the path of requesting Y8 Games to remove the game from their site with a takedown notice, but many attempts at contacting them directly failed. Upon reading further into this issue on Reddit, many people have experienced this same problem, so there were two options. I could try to fight this or work with it. So after seeing Telly the TV go viral on these web game sites, I decided to start working on a dedicated HTML5 project. It's called Glow Rogue. Roguelike games are all the rage right now, and I love bullet hell games. So I decided to make a low-scope twin-stick shmup game that I could release quickly. The game will have cards that the users can pick to increase the stats of the players or get special weapons. I'm going to set up a Google Ads account that I can integrate directly into my GDevelop project. On development day 1, I spent a lot of time looking for a new color palette on this website called LowSpec. I decided on this one called Sirens at Night. It features only 7 colors, with vibrant hues of turquoise mixed with red for impact. Based on this color palette, I created the background art, started making the user interface panel, created one enemy, added glow effects to all the sprites on the screen. I animated an enemy entry pattern frame by frame. When enemies are added to the screen, you will see the animation first, then the enemy spawns, which can hurt the player. I also added the twin-stick controls and logic for the cube-spaced enemies. My goal was to produce these assets quickly, so simple shapes would suffice. On development day 2, I finished adding the user interface components, added a working health bar, a working experience bar, and I added a placeholder for the player lives. Games like Vampire Survivors do not have lives. Once you lose all of your HP, you're dead. I do not know if I want this to be a feature depending on how difficult my game actually ends up being. I added the experience crystals you receive once you defeat an enemy. Development day 3 was the hardest day so far. I tried implementing the cards feature. The idea is once you collect enough experience points, the cards pop up on another layer and the game becomes paused, allowing you to collect a card to upgrade your stats. Currently I have 8 cards, but I'm planning on adding 1 more for sure. The issue I had was trying to create the shuffling effect on the cards. Through a ton of trial and error, I accidentally discovered how to do it. Then once that was working, I added tons of variables to change a player's stats based on what level it is, and what cards you have obtained. On development day 4, I further tweaked the cards mechanic. I added an orbit projectile, which I will end up removing because it's just not working as I anticipated. In order to correctly space out the projectiles, it requires math skills beyond my current knowledge. It also requires numerous variables and conditions to be met so the player doesn't just spawn 100 projectiles around themselves. Oftentimes these projectiles are overlapping on existing ones too. So instead I'll be changing it to a bomb which appears randomly a few times and clears out a large area of enemies on the screen. I also added a little turret feature for the player so you can spawn a turret that fires bullets when they get within 100 pixels of any enemies. And these turrets also have 5 hit points, so they have 3 hit points, so when the enemy hits it 3 times they go away. On this day I also added 2 more enemies. I have a shooting star enemy which spawns on the perimeter of the playfield and dashes across the screen. I added invisible spawners to accomplish this. I also created another spawner in the center of the screen to create the enemy pentagons. As the player's level increases, so do the amount of enemies on the screen. But this is also going to require time to tweak. Currently there's a lot of enemy action going on at once, and sometimes objects spawn all at the same time. So I might limit some enemies from the spawning during certain levels to account for this. I also created more enemy animations this day, which spawn first to add a nice effect. By the looks of my devlog so far, I've actually accomplished quite a bit. I'm working a ton this week at my other job, and I have a company coming to visit from out of town, so I won't be working on the game so much this week. But I do have a goal to release this game with only 2 full weeks of development time. Can I do it? Stay tuned and subscribe for more updates. Thanks for watching, and please give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the video. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions about game development.